privileged to have you, Manjunath, with us.
Thank you.
And I welcome you on the behalf of Chandigarh Lalit Kala Akademi.
Thank you.
We have all enjoyed looking at your works, and we can't tell you what pleasure it gives to see this art which is not heavy on the mind. I would like you to begin with how did this happen, because our entire system is such, particularly our education system is such, that it kills a person's imagination and creativity right at the beginning. So how did you keep it with you, and how did it flower?
See, the thing is, like, I would like to go back to my childhood, like, because I born and brought up in middle class traditional family, and I grown up with looking at Ravi Verma paintings, prints on a wall, and very traditional, like religious paintings on a wall, and I grown up with listening to my grandmother's stories. So, like, somewhere, like, I was visualizing a story while she was telling me a story, like, so that is the way how I started this, like, what you call, like, imagine, and like the idea of generating a story, and kind of. So from childhood I had a like great interest in art, like, and I used to go to temple. So just for, like, a temple is in my village, temple is a kind of art center that time. I didn't know about art museums and art galleries. So temple itself is a kind of museum for me, a gallery for me, because I used to go there and looking at large stone statues. And
Which place was there?
this was in Mangalore. And like in surrounding of Mangalore, it's full of temples. Like, if you go to all villages like Mukambika and all this, like, it's old temples with, like, they used to do a large murals, like, colorful murals of mythological stories, and looking at these images like Varaha and thousand and gods, like, it's from childhood, like, it's a new elements. Now maybe it's like I read about that story and now I know what are these images, but from when I was a child, and this kind of, I still remember, like, looking at that Varaha only is a very joyful moment for me, like, it's a Varaha, like face of this thing.
Swine.
Swine. And globe on that, like, it's a kind of, like, somewhere, like, from a very child's point of view, it's a kind of balancing, and it's a kind of humor, everything. Like, still I go to that temple and I enjoy that images. So at the same time, I used to go to village craftsman, like, who used to do Ganesha sculpture for yearly Ganesha festival and Durga festival. He is my first teacher, like, where I introduced to art. And I used to sit there and looking at, while he was working, it's a large Ganesha statue, I was looking at this. And the whole idea of art is within that. My whole idea is art is like, this is the idea, this is the art. So after my 10th, what we call, like, in 10th and 12th we have. So after my 10th, I don't know what I want to do, because I didn't had a clue there is a certain kind of art college and one could do graduation in that. So as like any other village this thing boys, I also applied for this thing IIT and what do you call Polytechnic, and I didn't know anything about it. I was like very worst student in school, because I only good at, like, doing science diagrams and all these things. Otherwise my study is completely like. So I was sitting in a class, I used to sit in a class and think about, like, school के बाद है ना वहाँ वर्कशॉप में जाना है, अभी तो गणपति वहाँ तक आ गई होगी. I still this like आज इससे थोड़ा सा क्ले मांग के घर जाऊँगा और बनाऊँगा. So whole idea is that. So in some extent I got a complete like support from my father also, because father had a major interest for art and music. So somewhere, like, he used to take me to all music concert and festivals, and to temple to show all these images, and he really took a major interest. Like, his contribution is major in my life. So then I used to go to one library. So that librarian told me there is a school where you can learn art.
All right.
So that is in Mysore. So then I came back to my father. I said like, you know, there is one school actually, है ना, पापा ये आर्ट ही सीख सकते हैं, ऐसा कॉलेज है. Then he said very happy. अच्छा तुम किसी दूसरा तो कुछ एजुकेशन में कुछ है नहीं है, मेरे को नहीं लगता तुम कुछ करोगे, तो वो देख लेते हैं, तुम्हारा इच्छा वही है तो आर्ट में, तो वी कैन गो टू मैसूर एंड वी विल फाइंड फॉर आर्ट स्कूल. So we both went to Mysore, and Mysore में आर्ट कॉलेज देखो, it's fantastic. Like it was that, it's a beautiful building in between jungle. Like it's kind of, it's a summer palace of Mysore king. So now they have converted into art college. So finally, then we come to know that even in art college there is a department, sculpture, painting. अब my father is always asking me always like, तुम कौन सा ले रहे हो, स्कल्पचर है, पेंटिंग नहीं, तुम अप्लाइड ले लो. मैंने बोला वाई, नहीं स्कल्पचर करके क्या फ़ायदा, गणेश आके गणेश बनाना पड़ेगा. These are the things. So finally I took sculpture because that was my area. But the best part is from my childhood I used to work with all mediums. Like, you know, there should not be any barriers. Art is art. Because till now I do work in all mediums. So initial school where I go this Mysore Chamarajendra Academy of Visual Art, which gives me this support to work in all mediums, like, you know, because officially when you do a sculpture you have to do a sculpture, but unofficially our teachers were like very supportive, like, you know, okay yaar, you can work in painting one day, and like,
So you could go into any
go into
department.
all departments.
Oh, wonderful.
So one is that, another, like, and I didn't care about marks and whatever, because in fact I got a gold medal, and till now, if you don't believe, I didn't took my degree from art college, because I didn't got any importance for that, like, you know, because उसका काम ही नहीं आया मेरे को आज तक. I think now I am 40, because आगे भी नहीं आएगा उसका काम.
कहीं दिखाना नहीं पड़ा.
दिखाना नहीं पड़ा, because after my graduation from Mysore Art College, that is a kind of a tradition that everyone used to go to Baroda for a master's. Then I thought, like, you know, I don't want to go. Why should I go to Baroda? Like, it's not a tradition. Like, and because we are only introduced to that kind of that art school, like, you know. And when we were in Mysore Art College, the whole idea of art is same, like as similar as Baroda. So my whole idea is like, and I want to go somewhere जो किसी ने गया नहीं है. So I came to Delhi with 300 rupees, because I am only one son in my family. Like, you know, if I tell my father like I want to go to Delhi, then he won't allow me. कि बोलो नहीं अभी तो इतना हो गया, 5 साल बहुत दूर रहा, you come back to our village and start your own thing. So I didn't tell him anything. Like I said, like I have to go to this thing, go back to Mysore करके I came to Delhi. So I'm a new person. I don't know anything about Delhi. I only know about, like, you know, ये train Delhi जाता है.
अच्छा.
So Delhi में उतरा. So then I remember one thing कि वहाँ एक आर्टिस्ट के लिए गेस्ट हाउस होता है इन मंडी हाउस. सो ऑटो वालों को बोल के सीधा मंडी हाउस आया. वहाँ पचा उस टाइम पे 20-25 रुपीज़ गया 300 रुपीज़ से, बिकॉज आई हैड ओनली 300 रुपीज़. यू टू अंडरस्टैंड हियर. सो गेस्ट हाउस आ गया. दैट टाइम गेस्ट हाउस रेंट वॉज 7 रुपीज़ पर डे. आई स्टिल रिमेंबर. सो वही सी गेस्ट हाउस में 3 महीना निकाला मैंने आफ्टरवर्ड. सो ऑलमोस्ट ये जो 300 रुपये आए थे ऑलमोस्ट ख़त्म होने आ गए. देन आई asked, like by that time I had friends in our guest house, like क्या कर सकते हैं यार कुछ भी, because I have to generate money now, like I can't ask my father. So वहाँ से, because the best part was my father thought that I am in Mysore. वो टाइम पे मोबाइल नहीं था, that is the best thing. So then I used to paint t-shirt, and I used to get 70 rupees per day.
In Delhi?
In Delhi, or People's Tea के लिए. So I used to generate money from that. Then after that I joined Economic Times as an illustrator. So how that whole thing goes. So The in economic times I learned computer. Like the best part was like while you are doing this in '94, using a computer is a big thing. Even Mac
Something
that time.
new, yes.
Like I started my this thing, computer using computer in Mac, then shifted to PC. So that time Mac is a big thing, like using a Mac. So I used to sit there till 4 o'clock morning to learn computer myself. Like I didn't had any proper education for computer.
So your journey kind of
Yeah,
defies this notion that you must have a degree from a big college.
yeah,
Second thing, most people kill their creativity and art, in the rigmarole of job.
yeah. Because what happens, like if you go through like academical thing, which is like, see, not only in art college, if you see any academical study, which is like it's a very structured, you have to do this and this. Even now, if you see, we talk about like we don't agree with academic. Slowly, that's also become a kind of academic way. I don't like this. That's also, and here also you are not going anywhere. You are also following one certain thing. So as similar as like that is academic way and this is anti-academic way. And so there is also restrictions.
So how did you take the plunge, leaving the job and becoming?
Yeah. So what happened, like after like I worked with Economic Times for 5 years, and all in sudden one night I was thinking like somewhere my life is become secure. So it's stagnant now. Like I have to leave this job. So suddenly that time. I came to my art manager who was head of the department. I said like लोकेश जी मेरे को छोड़ना है. मैं बोला पागल हो गया क्या, आर्टिस्ट को बाहर जाके इतना थोड़ी पैसे मिलने हैं. मैंने बोला से somewhere like that I can manage, मेरे को जाना है. I have to leave this job and then I'll find my own way. Like क्या होता है देखे जाता है. So from next day I am a zero. जितना था नेक्स्ट मंथ एंड में सैलरी नहीं आना है, अगेन जीरो में आ गया जैसे स्टार्टिंग में था. सो लकीली आफ्टर आई लेफ्ट इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स आई गॉट दिस थिंग स्कॉलरशिप, चार्ल्स वाले स्कॉलरशिप टू गो टू कार्डिफ. सो दिस द अनदर where this thing for me like opened a new thing. Like I worked there in I especially was there for to learn digital art there, and I have experimented with video and all these things there. And somehow I thought like I don't know, like I mean this is my experience. Like after got this scholarship, like everything you can learn in India also. It's not a new thing, because there my head of the department in Cardiff. He asked like, you must be very happy, isn't it? I said, why? Like, you can use all this computer. I said, like in India also we have computers. And I learnt everything. Like I didn't learn new things here, because I have visited museums, I have visited other thing. And somewhere, like the best part is like when I was in London, I mean I was in UK, I visited so many museums. Then I thought like you are looking at your own thing in very new eye there. Like and I was looking at Indian miniatures. I said like fantastic here. Like
the way they
yeah, and it's here. So that is there. Whenever you go away from your home, you feel like this is all mine. This is ours. Like somewhere like you feel like then you say this is a great contribution Indian art made to the world. Like see the idea, like it's not realistic at the same time, it's a magic reality you are talking about. In Indian miniature you can see like God Brahma sitting on a lotus. It's not practical, and it's not like in real life you can't sit on a flower. And that kind of imagination you can see in Indian miniatures, and very different kind of perspective which is not realistic. That's why what I'm saying, like it's a magic realism. Like then I thought like we have a great heritage, like and somewhere we have to bring that particular thing into my art. So otherwise what happens, like every time we are generating second hand art, that's why we don't have our own artists. Always our artists are named as the Indian Michelangelo, Indian Picasso. Yes. So you never created your Indian artist. So then I thought like, somewhere it's a kind of artistic responsibility, and that is what I am like, because from childhood I had a certain kind of taste, which is like, I can stand in front of a large god and goddess statue for half an hour, and I can't describe like why do I like these images, because somewhere like, and I used to, and suddenly I go back to this sculpture and see the whole the beauty of proportion, and that is somewhere like you can't explain what I am getting from there. But I used to spend a lot. Even now, I collect so many traditional sculptures and craft, and I enjoy that. Like keeping in my room and even in my studio. It's like people whoever comes to my home and studio, at least it's a small museum. So I spend all money in that, like because buying this, and even now my family also knows that my wife also gives me a gift that like, he don't like anything else, so we have to give this. So she only asks me, like, then she observes me, like whenever I go to craft museum and like, you like that particular thing, okay, I will give you this gift for your birthday, I will give you this gift. I know that if I give you any other thing, you won't be happy. So when we go back to our childhood, my childhood, it's like then also it's same. All my relatives used to give me gift of like small terracotta sculptures, because from childhood I had this habit of collecting all these goddess and god idols. Still, so some of them still I have.
So when you came back from Cardiff,
Yeah.
as you rightly said that most Indian artists are imitators of European grade art.
Yeah.
To break that mold of this self-imposed inferiority complex that Indian art has suffered from, what did you have to do? And secondly, how did you find then, this unique vocabulary of yours?
Yeah, see, after coming back from Cardiff, I didn't work for 2 years because I was in complete confusion. What I have to do, and why I am doing this work, and who I am, and what is my responsibility. First, you have to answer that for yourself. Otherwise, it's very simple that like anyone else, I am doing my work. Like anyone else, I am making money. Some like anyone, then you are not answering your question. Always it comes out. No, always there's like, it's that question troubles you. Like if you don't answer that, like what is the new thing? You are like any other thing here who are painting or making money or die. So even forget about like nationality or whatever, like end of the like, you have to answer your question, what you are and what I am getting from this. Because if you go the core of an artist, like from my childhood, I never thought about like, and I make money from this art. So to make this art to like to generate money for this, like whole your practice, you work somewhere. Like economic times, the major thing is like, I had a clear this thing that I have to generate money from somewhere else to
sustain that.
Yeah, sustain that. So you made all these compromises, and you never thought about making money, and like that is not your thing. Like it's the end of the day, artist whole thing is like, if he get a very good color or brush, he is happy. That was my whole thing. So now, if I thought about only making money, then it's not a big deal. I'll tell you, like I'm that clever that I can make money. So that thing I know. So somewhere like, then what do you want? So that search is started, and somewhere like, somewhere your contribution, Indian contribution to the world art scene. So now this is the time, like somewhere now you have to think about that somewhere. So when we talk about this, it's not easy. Like we have to change the whole system of education, system of art education, because now if you go to any art school, we have books. 90% is Western art, and only 10% we have Indian art.
We don't even have miniature art actually as a
Yeah,
subject
because
anywhere.
and one more thing is like it's very painful to tell this. Like I met few uh, young artist or like young student, for example, where when they talk about our epics like Mahabharata or Ramayana, यार वो होता है ना यार रामायण में वो जो वो भीष्म आता है, मैंने बोला रामायण में भीष्म आता है यार, जो भी है यार वो तो आई डोंट नो. So that kind of negation for the like
What is Indian?
yeah, what these are like, it's like great
Gold
great
mines.
yeah, great thing. And what is your reaction to that kind of thing? Like yaar mere ko pata nahi hai. No, so when you see this, you have to talk about Indian education here. Like there is something wrong in basic. So why we go to school or go to college and go to particular college to make earn money? That is our motto. Like whole education, what our Indian education is doing is like generating, I mean, giving a certain kind of machine to work in some factory or company, not more than that.
Yes. This brings us to this dilemma of the art world. We have observed boom in art market, and then the boom disappeared, and articles have been written about whether the slump in economy is good for the cause of art. So I want to understand from you, when I look at artists like you, I feel this confidence of Indianness has come from maybe this economic boom. We were third world countries, nobody looked at us, and suddenly there was this economic boom and India was recognized. So maybe that also contributed to this confidence that yes, Indianness has something to offer to the world. So I would like you to comment on this, that yes, commercialization of art or commercial success of art, it is in a way run down by the traditional school. But do you think it has also contributed to bringing art to a certain pedestal?
Definitely, like when because for example, as I told you before, like to sustain this art, that time I did work for other institutions, like because anyway, like that is also I take this whole thing as an experience. I gain so many things from that, which now, but the very best part is after this economic boom. So if you see the artist works like large and fearless, because that time, I mean, when we had an economic boom, that time, like that's a kind of confidence you get, like, and I will make things and forget about like where can I preserve this and all, like because that the whole energy is like blessed, like you can do anything, you can create a wonder, because there is no thing of like the basic thing is taken care this thing, because we didn't think about like what about food and thing, like that is all thing like we are getting a money from, because that is the best time for a new artist also who is coming out from art school. There is no much struggle now, like he can work, I mean there are so many possibilities. He can work as an illustrator, and he can work in TV, or like he can work in some any other, because everywhere that art skill is needed now. Because when we passed out from art school, it was very limited. So definitely this whole art boom contributed to Indian art scene, like and when you, as you asked about like somewhere you are getting a confidence to be an Indian artist or Indian, that is like if you don't have art boom also, that is there, like that is your inner thing, what do you want to do. So confidence, like because if you are very poor also you can have a confidence. So but how you are using this whole art economy, I mean art boom, that is very important. Somewhere like misuse the whole thing, that's also you have to note, like when we had an economic boom, there are few people misuse that whole boom
Everything was sold in the name of art.
Yeah.
But this brings me to this, that yes, when the boom came, you know, we did create a good market for the art, but institutions and systems that take this market further, take this or help in maturing of this market, why that did not happen? Why did we not open more art institutions, more art magazines, you know, good art writers? Why that the entire system that would have fed into a good creation of a good art market, somehow that did not happen? And why do you think that did not happen? We didn't have great art journals coming through this time, you know, we didn't produce great art writers, or some galleries, yes, of course, did come up, but can you recall even 5 good colleges that came because of boom in the art?
No, because it's all like, see, if I tell you that after a boom, we come up with so many art magazines. If you see, like at that time we had only Art India.
Yeah.
After a boom is over, then there are so many magazines came up.
As an afterthought.
Yeah, afterthought, like then they thought like, okay, now we need that, otherwise. So another thing is like art colleges and other part, like, see, there is, after a boom, there is certain kind of good thing what came up, like, you know, only who are good at art,
Would
those
survive.
only sustain. You know, that kind of thing came. And so somewhere I can't say that, like, you know, in boom this happened or after boom this happened. Like, it's both thing was needed to Indian art. So okay, finally we experienced that whole thing. Like, what is money? At least we didn't know anything about money. So with that, like, you know, some people use that boom in a very, very good way. Actually, they have created large works and
Galleries came.
yeah,
That
galleries
was a good
came
part.
up. And but I don't know about, like, you know, what is the aim of the gallery. So end of the, like, if money is here and so many people come, they don't know anything about it. Sometimes they act as a, like, we are like we understand art, that kind of thing.
Now I'll come to your works.
Yeah.
And you give such smart titles to your work. So how do you work on that? And it also shows great efficiency in language. Did working in economic times help you in
So
this
that is
or what?
also the another thing is like sometimes if you carefully see my titles, it's like how I talk to people. You know, that kind of, like, you know, for example, there's one work which is the title was like, you know, this blue is different from what I was talking about.
Yeah.
So that is my title. So that in my work, that title gives you an entry into my work, like an entering point. Like, and that's also like another image from my work. It's not separate. I don't give title after once I complete my work, then title. I start with titles.
Okay.
For example, I will give you one example here. Like, one of my artist friend from abroad, he was talking to me on a phone, and while he was talking about art, like, you know, yeah, do you know this artist? Do you know Darida? Do you know? Have you read about this artist? Have you read about this artist? Indian art is hopeless. Have you read about this artist? You should know about this artist. Then, end of the whole conversation, I asked, like, what is your words here? Every time you quoted 100 books, which is not from your experience. Like, you quoted all his experience, writer's experience, another artist's experience. Somewhere, like, you know, try to understand your own experience. So it's after that I started one work with, like, a man who quoted under more than 100 book in his talk. So which is not and in that image, the one man cutting a moon, which is impossible, but it looks like he is cutting a moon, but moon is far away. That kind of.
Did you receive a lot of brickbats for that? Because you have one of the works, you know, the philosopher vomiting and
Vomiting philosopher.
Vomiting
Yeah,
philosopher.
that's also that particular image. Even he is throwing out or puking out all that whole pure this thing, vomit with fake diamonds. So it's like it's based on, because I read a lot of Kannada poems, and I have my favorite Kannada poets. Like, and always somewhere, like, say I start with the take one element from a poem and I start. And this particular work from Akka Mahadevi's one this thing poem. She's a bhakti poet, like contemporary of Kabir, and like, so where she wrote, like, how can you go away, because I can say it in Hindi, it's better, like, because which is Indian. So if you live in आप जब समुद्र के साइड में बगल पे रहते हो, सो समुद्र का जो ये आते हैं और वेव्स आते हैं, उसको डरने से क्या बात है। जो जंगल में रह के जंगली जानवरों को डरोगे तब तो बात कैसी बनेगी। तो इट्स एज सिमिलर, लाइक इट्स अ काइंड ऑफ कमेंट ऑन city, like, we somewhere we have to accept this city life, like that particular work was in that show which was talking about city and glorification of our life, like somewhere. So I thought, like, it's all omitting what do you call, fake diamonds, which is like, that is the whole glory of, like, for example, page 3 and all this, like somewhere I negate that. At the same time, that is part of the world, like, you can't help it. That is there. But again, the only one thing what you can do is, like, eat as much you want, then if it necessary, puke it.
You know, your works like, yes, all this is mine, and
Yeah.
Cupid on Stupid, people relate to it. That they actually open
So
their,
that is the thing. That is like with title, you can enter into it. As I said, like, you can participate in my work. Like, you feel like, so that is the very simple language what I am talking in my work. Like, you should not go away from my work. Come, like, it's like, come and participate. Art is like, you can't say this, like, I have heard enough from my family and my friends, like, यार तुम्हारा जो आर्ट है ना, आर्ट के बीच में हम नहीं आ सकते हैं ना, I can't understand art. So in my work you say, like, it's not tough. Come, use your eyes, because that is the main problem we have in India. Like, we don't know how to use our eyes. So, but like, you can say, like, we are visual illiterates. Because somewhere, like that, because in when you see art, the first thing is, like, I want to understand, or what is the logic of this? Do you have anything written on it? Then why you don't have eyes to see these works? Always, why do you want to read about that art? But when you talk about visual art, then look as much you can, no? Like, then you try to understand. Then these are supportive. You can't say that this is the true what someone written about this particular piece. Maybe they have used 110 big words. It doesn't mean that is the explanation of my work. My work is very simple. Like, you can participate with that. As like, always I respect my favorite bhakti poet Kabir. Like, his language is very simple. Yes. Anybody can understand. So it's so simple that it seems like you have to read more. Like, this is very, I mean, there is no burden of language and big words. Yeah.
So while you have liberated art from its own burden of gravity and solemnity, does sometimes it bothers you that people are also becoming very, very touchy about, if you tell them their truth. We see it every day happening in cinema, in songs, even in newspapers.
Truth, end of the day, because in our scriptures there is a written, like, which truth is harmful, don't tell the truth.
Satyam vad priyam vad. But it's kind of contradictory.
Yeah, but I am completely against that. Like, because then it's like you are saying a lie. It's another way of telling that you have to lie. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Somewhere like Satya is Satya, you have to tell this. Because we have faced big hurdles because of this particular word, like Apriya Satyam Na Bruyat. So now you have to say it सत्य, like because we all damages because of this अप्रिय सत्य नहीं बोला इसलिए. So now when you talk about like correcting society or like somewhere like that, truth is needed now. This is it. This is what we are, and we don't want mask. If I am Indian, I want to say that I am Indian. I look like Indian because if you see, you try this with anyone who are very fair. If you tell them like, यार तुम तो पूरा गोरा लग रहा है, foreigner जैसा लग रहा है, he takes this as a compliment. He'll be very happy. अच्छा मैं अंग्रेज लग रहा है. So if someone is dark, you have to tell him like वो blacks होते हैं ना यार जो rap वाले तेरे उनके जैसा लगता है. He'll be very happy. But he don't be very happy तो Indian लग रहा है. So somewhere that inferiority we have. I don't know why. Like we want to be someone else. So even in art, I have tried this. It's not a joke. If you go to any art show, and if you tell him like, यार वो जो तुम्हारा शो गया था पूरा यार, I thought it's like some foreign artist. That's a kind of गाली, but he takes it as a compliment. यार अंग्रेज जैसे मेरा माने foreign artist जैसे लग रहा है art. So somewhere you try to become
somebody else.
Yeah. That whole struggle, whole struggle of like try to become someone else, what we have seen, it's enough. Get up and try to do something which is
original.
Maybe one, end of the day, like at least, like be original and contribute to world art scene. Like, and I'm not against any foreign art or this thing. Like I'm talking about your contribution to world art.
You've also used art for, certain issues like feminism and gender issues. And
see, that is again like because we are in this contemporary world, somewhere my work touching all over. I'm not deliberately doing this, like comment on this. Like I'm continuously comment on society. Like if I feel uncomfortable with one certain thing, I'll do this. As I told you, like I start with certain kind of titles, which I got very uncomfortable with that particular moment, and it's registered in my work. It starts from that particular work. As similarly, I comment on each and everything, like society, and end of the day, you start with something, and it reaches people, maybe in very different way. Like he can see from his own experience.
yes.
So I can't cut his whole thought, like, and that's why I say, like, eventually I used to create a story on my work. Slowly I deliberately stop that telling a story on my work. Like somewhere they have to generate their own story. I am producing image for them, like so then they can create a whole story with their own experience. So that is, I am giving you more freedom to understand my art.
You use so many images, characters from myths. You pick people from different time frames and put them together. Do you sometimes find it difficult on the part of the viewers? Do they come and ask you this? That
I had given you one example here, like who don't know anything about Indian mythology.
Yes.
That is the big problem what I have faced.
So they lose the significance of
why? No, completely. Like people. Somewhere I used Vishwamitra, for example. They come, वो साधु वहाँ क्या कर रहा है बेटा? Somewhere we don't have any connection with our mythology. Somewhere like some blame, and the very strange, you can't believe. I have met one buyer who said, I don't want such a work which has an Indian element in it. मेरे को पूरा foreign जैसा. I don't want the Indian element ही नहीं होना चाहिए. Then I thought like, what is this? See, this is so my whole work is on the basis of understanding human nature, like how his mind works. So then I started like, how is mind working then? Like what? Somewhere like he negates his whole identity, or why he needs that? Like नहीं होना चाहिए. So the first that negation is like I am not belongs to India. Like my identity is very different. So you find like in art, this is the best part. Like you meet so many people, like very very different kind of art, and that is the food for my thoughts. Like from there I am getting these titles. Like maybe next when we meet, like, and I can tell you, like, and I have started work on this particular thing, because it's a very almost 1 week back thing what I felt like, and maybe that thing comes in my work.
The identity
Yeah.
crisis. I would like to understand how important it is for the contemporary artist to use technologies to make his or her language, better articulated.
See, it's a very good question here. Like, and I want to talk about this particular thing because it depends on his language. Like, for example, if you ask me, I don't want to call myself as a painter or sculptor or video artist, cutting edge artist, and new age artist. So, if there is anything else, certain kind of label, like what you call, who can use all mediums, like for example, like new media, all media. This is, I can fit into all media artist. So
Alright.
how because in my work I choose medium according to my ideas. Like, certain kind of idea needs moving images, then I choose video. Certain kind of idea needs very still, like, which doesn't go with moving images. So then, so according to that, I choose a medium. So medium is not a barrier for me. So my whole idea is like, why do you value particular medium? Medium is medium. It's not art. Like, if you use certain kind of technology also, that is also end of the day medium. Okay, you can explore new elements in new technology in art. But for example, now if you see new media art for video, it's already old medium. So how can you call this new medium? So end of the day, very important part is like how you using that medium. Like, you can be a great, extraordinary artist just doing paintings, if you are very comfortable with that, and you can be wonderful artist using sculpture, and you can be wonderful art, produce wonderful art with video. It doesn't mean that who is using video is a superior and who is doing a painting is less superior. So it depends on your own. But unexpectedly, what happened, like in what I am looking at, like it's a new generation, like whoever having a show, there is one small black room. Like, I have done video also, see. Like, it's not necessary. Somewhere like in this, if you see that video, shit, you have to see this video here. Who told you that this is like you have to do this? Then only you comes into a
Certain
new age artist.
club.
Like, yeah, somewhere for that to judge that whole thing. Like, it's experimenting is not at all bad, but there is no certain kind of rules. Experiment art is this, and old art is this, new age art is this. So if you go within that particular rules and this is experiment, then what is experimental art? So there is a big boundaries we have created. This is only experimental art and this is not. So that is the thing, like, somewhere artists should open their eyes and like they have to do what they want to do. Like, there is no certain thing. Maybe there is certain curators or art writers. They insist you that like I only look at this kind of art. So that if I talk about this art, I'm superior curator. It doesn't mean to you. End of the day, that doesn't feed your this thing. What you got to call conscious. Like, what do you want to do?
This brings me to what is art for you? Successful art, because this has become the big thing even among the young artists. Everybody wants to be successful, and success has somehow been now translated only when you become a commercial success. So I would like you to talk in terms of young artists, how they should look at.
This is another a good part what you said, like the success in commercial. I see commercial in so many other ways, not only making money. Like now this new notion comes, like you participate in Bainale, Trenale, that is success. That is also another part of commercialization. Because if you participate here, then you automatically you get money. That is also a part of commercialization, isn't it? Because to get that kind of opportunity to participate in Trenale and Bainale, Trenale, international shows, there also you compromise. Somewhere you become someone else. So that's also part of fame. And end of the day, that also comes under the certain kind of commercialization. So here, how we can broaden that meaning of commercialization here? Because for example, if you are not bothered about any commercialization, any opportunity, then why do you need explanation for your work? Explanation of certain kind of explanation which fits into a present opportunity. For example, there is certain kind of opportunity. Like if you see in art, in certain period, people only talk about like globalization and displacement. Then artists produce work which fit into that. Then that's also certain kind of commercialization, isn't it? Then otherwise you don't bother about that issue, no? What do you want to do? You have to do. So for example, if you want to put my work into any of this, it doesn't fit directly. Because I am talking about so many issues. Then curator get confused, like where should I put him? Then okay, forget this artist. And it's easily understandable. No, we don't want this. So somewhere like, art is which you can't understand, that is art. So the whole idea is like how you look at the world, like, what is your idea of commercialization and things. And otherwise, if you ask me what art for me it's in very simple way, art is not more than like how you eat, how you sleep, and that's way I treat art as well. Art is a part of my life. Like in between, I try to live this art. You can't live because I have similar as like खाना बिना खा के जी नहीं सकता है. That's become my part of my life. Like and I can't live this. Then you have to do. So that's the thing. And खाना खा के कैसे फेमस हो सकते हैं वो कभी नहीं सोचा. इसलिए आर्ट हो के मैं आर्ट करके फेमस करते वो भी नहीं सोचा है.
I think most people now begin from the other end. I mean, instead of being or practicing art, they begin with that this is a way to become famous, to be there. In this very context, I would like you to talk about the gallery politics, and how galleries try to
that is there. See, this is
artists, and as you rightly said, that this is also another kind of commercialization. So what is it? It's
commercialization actually, like because as an artist you face this kind of hurdles, like in your
how do you overcome these hurdles?
So again I'll go back to your that part, like apriya satyam na bruyat, but I will bruyat. So the thing is like because when you talk about like if you say this to a gallery like I am this and I don't want see, my art is very simple and I can't do anything. This is my way of life. Then they will say like this, ye nahi chalega. Like you have to come up with, and it's a real truth now. Like and if somebody understand or not, like everything is paid. Like if you write about some artist, that's also paid, and getting popular in art, that's also paid. That someone is generating a whole mechanism for your famous from background. And still there is artists, there are artists like who really through their work they are getting famous. That is also there, like both sides are there. But this is a very bad side of art is like somewhere like now this become more important. Like somewhere you have to talk, you have to go to these curators and this within so if there is any opportunity, it comes within certain kind of circle. So bahar kahin na jaye, wo bhi dekhe. Like because if you see There's only group of artists who participate in all over the world Indian art scene. There are so many other artists also, but they are not in the group. So this is, I still remember when I was a kid, we used to प्ले अ गेम, लेकिन सब लोग ऐसे खड़े होके आता के बाहर से एक एंट्री करने के लिए ट्राई करता था. दैट इज द गेम, लाइक सो इट्स एग्जैक्टली लाइक दैट. दे होल्ड देयर हैंड्स वेरी टाइट, लेकिन कोई घुस ना पाए. लाइक वट एवर अपॉर्चुनिटी विद इन दैट वी हैव टू गेट. So that lobby is there always.
That exclusive club.
And one more thing, what I have noticed, like first thing, I don't have, and I'm not telling a lie here. Like long back, I had a thing, like, and I want to be famous. I want to notice. Now, I don't want anything. That kind of like, I'm very comfortable. Like I'm getting. Like I can paint. I can spend work on money on my mediums and whatever medium I can work. So that is there, like, because for me, like, this side is enough, like, and I don't want to, because now I came to the certain stage, like, and I don't bother about Western shows, like, and I'm not getting anything from that, like, that is not my aim. Producing work is my aim, and each and every day, every moment is a living, like, I'm living this particular seconds is important for me, instead of tomorrow I have to participate in that show, that's why I am working now. That is not at all important for me. Like now it's like I made my life very simple, like, and it's a very beautiful what I like. I enjoy each and every moment. If I don't want to go somewhere, I don't go, because I am working for me and I am fulfilling my own idea of art, like, you know, because so first initially it's very difficult to say that, like, I can't come. Now I say listen, I काम कर रहा हूँ, नहीं आ सकता. So that kind of like the main is a very simple thing, is like you are living each and every moment. That is most important than any other Triennale or Biennale international shows.
Say something about the colors you use. They are so brilliant.
See, if you see my work from last 6 years, it's like very bright. Sometimes I use fluorescent and gold. See, that is the whole idea of decorative element in my work. Like, and when we were studying in art college, there were certain kind of myths. If you use fluorescent, that is decorative. If you use gold, that is decorative. You should not use gold, because your work should not look decorative. Then I asked one question myself: what is the wrong in decorative element? Like why your work should not look like decorative, and what is the definition of decorative? If you do non-decorative art, that is also definition for another kind of decoration, right? You are not doing decoration, that is also decoration.
That's true.
So somewhere I try to use very fluorescent, which is all banned in art school. See, that is my experience, like, you know. Then what I have noticed, whoever comes to meet me from art schools, they suddenly feel very uncomfortable with it, like, you know, you are using fluorescent, and that is happened, like, who came to me from my school to work as an assistant. Normally whoever comes from south, they used to come to me and they be here for a year or something, then they will start their own, that is the tradition we have. So I gather their perspective of understanding art also. Then after a month they become very comfortable with me. Then they said, like, when I came to your studio, no, that time I used to get very uncomfortable when I look at this fluorescent. Now I feel like it's good. Then I said, like, see, when you came to me, that time you had a certain kind of block in your mind. This is art, this is not art. And what common people understand, that is not art. That is the big thing we have. Bright color, that is not art. Gold, that is not art. So all these bright colors and gold, which I have taken from Indian miniature. So Indian miniature has its own decorative element. Yeah. So then I thought, like, you know, what is the wrong in using these kind of colors and thing, which especially in my work I needed that. and because of certain kind of brackets we have put, which is so called idea of what is art, why should I negate that whole colors and using dull colors? So this is a kind of revolution, you can say, like, because I am using decorative, and what is your problem?
You have broken so many barriers actually to carve out your own art.
Yeah.
So let's hope in future also you keep breaking such barriers, and we keep.
I try to always, like, because as my first thing is like, instead of I'm breaking for, I'm not breaking this whole barrier for others, it's for myself. Like, end of the day, like, you can say, like, okay, what I wanted to do, I have done. That is my thing. Like, that is end of the day, that whole gold medal or silver medal doesn't matter. That is your medal. The end of the day, you carrying, like, what I wanted to do, I have done. No.
Thank you so much for talking to
Thank
us,
you.
and it was a great pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Same here.